But it all goes back to why we do this. And why do we do it? We do it because we're talking about education. And we're talking about education for all students, particularly students with disabilities, but all students. And the title is Beyond Graduation, because I think what happens is when people advocate, and I've seen this in my travels, everybody gets really charged up. And then when the child turns 22 and the bus stops coming, everybody's standing at the window like, there's no bus. Like, no, there is no bus coming. He got to get a job. And hopefully a job that he can get the hell out of your house. But in order to do that, you have to have an education, right? Like, you know, what was it? Like 6 months ago, I'm riding, we're in the car, we're talking, and they say McDonald's has changed their employment requirements. You now need to have a college degree. I was like, well, that don't make no sense. Like, how smart do you need to be to put fries in a fryolator? You know, grease, check it. Hot grease, fry, French fry, right? Doesn't require a college degree. But what it does go to is that the importance of education is immeasurable. And particularly for students with disabilities, because our education is always subject to somebody's interpretation of what we can do versus what we actually can do. But it's beyond the education. Because we can talk about IEPs, inclusive curriculums, co-teaching, you know, open concepts about Wi-Fi enabled schools, Wi-Fi enabled buses, but ultimately you're in school for a finite amount of time. You are in society until you die. And what will you bring? Will you bring all that baggage that somebody has tried to heap upon you because of a diagnosis? Or will you bring your talents and your skills and your wherewithal to the community so that the community can be better? That's the challenge of inclusive education. The challenge to administrators is to say, this is different. We can't continue to do things the same way. Because you can't do the things the same way. Children are children, regardless of if they were born with autism or cerebral palsy or they acquired a traumatic brain injury. It's a child. And at what point do you start letting the diagnosis trump the humanity? Because that's one of the challenges of providing inclusive education. You've had these discussions. We think you should do inclusive education in school. You want those kids in our classroom? Well, I don't want you teaching in my building. How about that? That's inclusive. I'm going to include you in kicking you out. How about that? Because if you cannot see the humanity in the child, then it's very easy to devalue the worth of the education that you're going to give them. Which is why you have kids in school till they're 22 who've been in high school for 8 years. 8. And let me put it in this kind of context. For those who graduated high school, when you were a freshman, did you like it? You were fresh meat, right? People, oh, freshman, they push you. And when you got to the senior, you were a big man or a big woman on campus. Can you imagine being a senior for 5 years? Who wants to be a 5th year senior for the 5th time? Nobody. Although I did look at the brighter side of it. If I get to stay in high school until I'm 22, that means I can come in for my last year completely drunk. And nobody can say anything. 21. How dare you come into class like, I don't give a... And if you don't want it for yourself, why would you want that for your child? If you're a teacher who's a parent, if you know that you have an issue about teaching those kids, well, what do you think the teachers are looking at your child like? This is not unconnected or unrelated. Beyond graduation is not just about did he get a certificate of achievement because he managed to get on the bus every day. Did he learn anything? Did she learn anything? More importantly, did you learn anything? Because at the principal, yes, I get it. I've heard all the stories. Well, we have budget constraints. We got to do this. No. If you chose to get into education, you chose to educate. And education is not the exclusive providence of those who do not have the diagnosis. It's not. Education is the one thing that is a great equalizer. Whether you're nonverbal, whether you're blind, or whether you're just incredibly sexy like me, it just makes life so much better. This is the reality of being beyond graduation. Because once you turn 22, you ain't cute no more. Oh, okay, yes you are. But it makes it hard. Because there are services while you're in school, right? And once you get out, everything you have to go get. But that's the world. That's why inclusive education needs to be all the time, every day. You don't send your kids to school just to get them out of the house, do you? I put them on the bus like, bye. We're coming back. No, you're not. I mean, yes. And it's that kind of challenge that we have. Because I'm a parent, and I keep telling my kids, hate to hear it, but listen, when you're done, I said you can do anything you want when you're 21 with a college degree. You can tattoo a monkey on your face. I don't care. As long as you got a degree and some kind of education. Because that's the one thing no one can take from you. They can take your health care so that your wheelchair cannot get repaired. They can take your Section 8 so that your rent goes up. They can even take your SSI, but they can never take your knowledge. And that is why inclusive education is important. That is why you need to do it and plan and educate beyond 22.
So what we're going to do today is, and Tracy's going to start, each guy is going to share a PowerPoint, and we're going to show a video clip. We're going to start out with the guy's opening remarks, and then Tracy's going to do his PowerPoint, we'll show a clip, and we'll do a Q&A.
With Ed, that. This. Green Sullivan. We. Mountain. Man. Hope. Will. You. Sign. Hello, Denver. Good to be here with you all for a true Rocky Mountain high. I do like orange, but more the Syracuse Orange Man. Sorry, with that, this Green Mountain Man will sign off. Words. But our heads. Have much bless. Claire. Them. Them. Pleased to move people here to a movie star beat like wild and crazy Beatles. I'm Ed Sullivan. We hope you scream at our words, but our heads have much less hair than them.
Chubby, our use are right crazy, correct, fun. My instruction was my bad. It says whoop, as Jesse, whoopy, you have a rubber,
Label.
waiver.
The torch of my fiery need to have a communication partner passed from Alan to
Oh boy.
looking into my dark, deep chaos was like unlocking madness. I held many hard grudges toward a label of retardation. The looping replay was nonstop, with no way to talk or vent to mom or a friend. Using miserable behavior is release of the locking of intelligence. Let's pull together and put an end to hurtful words. I had lots of pre-scripted looping thoughts coming through my typing. Things like radio and my local news station, WCAX. My inner thoughts got masked in too much of holding on to my autism. I did not know the term proprioception then. Lack of knowledge of my own body ticked me off. My movement looked like no control in the beginning. Harvey had many arm wrestling contests with me.
Aha.
My communication is paramount to my well-being and is key to my being an active citizen. I may appear to be a man shrouded by a cloak of incompetence, but if you will take the time to listen to my typing, you will understand I am intelligent. I've had great opportunities to travel, joining forces with other activists who are living on the periphery of society. Quietly ignored, autism as a rule feels as though society as a whole is not interested in knowing we are intelligent. It is heart-wrenching to think of life of no inclusion. Other people have worked hard to break down the brick walls of institutions, but the walls of ignorance still exist. It is the right time in history to remove the thinking that those who communicate and those who look different than you have no intelligence. The presumption of competence is the right thinking to release people from bondage of discrimination. I wish in my heart that I had a mentor when I was in school, but now I look back and realize I can't dwell on the what-ifs. I think all schools should be more open to building mentoring with us because we have mighty stories and excellent wisdom to share. Even though my friends and I possess intelligent ideas, the people in the educational system, for the most part, have historically not understood how to educate us. Teaching kids, parents, and teachers is one of my goals.
When I think and what I think about my bed, probably in my why I know it is possible
Perseverance.
to be reader to towards a need, a guided and
Purpose.
purpose. I have found my purpose. Is that why it is to be a teacher, a master, and a university professor to say to you.
Issuing passports to us to travel and be filmed was like putting us in space capsules to the moon and having us take giant steps for mankind. We are living proof of intelligence, roller derbying over labels, living the life of people, achieving the American Idol dream. And this is a double bill with the Hunger Games. No,
Uh-oh. Oh. Either my summer happening. Supporting actor Harvey and Pascal.
We look for opportunities to interact with people in much different than Vermont countries, opening minds to potentially prospective exploding ideas about disability. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, even if I never visited McDonald's in our Lots of New Foods Sampled on journey. McDonald's in Tokyo. Now, showing in good old-fashioned popcorn-covered theaters, our film has launched us into the mainstream. Here.
I can sit at marble tables with a glass of
Champagne.
champagne, and summer.
Signing.
Does
DVDs.
DVDs with and
Platinum.
perfect pen.
You like that one, huh? Now we're having fun. And now we are opportunity our movie stardom to slay the dragons of institutionally oriented attitudes and launch campaigns to promote inclusion of people with disabilities in mainstream society. Making movies probably was a dream that Tracy and I never imagined happening. Oops. It's a little slow. This was not because it wasn't possible, but because no one in society ever projected a vision of the world that looked at autistic people who couldn't speak as people of star potential, wanting to sow seeds of change in attitudes about disability and intelligence. The keys to this magical kingdom potentially come from the same place that all movie stars play out their dreams.
breathing in your talent and given you the opportunity to show it. Back and on today.
So possibility is about imagining the impossible, pushing away the powers of assumption, and putting on the armor of committed to openness belief.
It took a lot of effort removing barriers and obstacles, but I made it. And I had a whole lot of support from a community of people, just like many of you here in this room. People who are willing to picture the possibilities. Some of my help came from teachers who didn't know anything at all about Down syndrome, but they were ready to learn, and I was ready to teach. I was able to go all through school in a regular classroom setting, and I graduated from St. Mary's Academy in Portland, Oregon, with a regular high school diploma. And then I went on to Portland Community College, where I earned an Associate of Science degree and a Teacher's Aide certificate. As we turned the corner into the 21st century, we had young people with Down syndrome all over the country, graduating from their high schools, earning employable job skills, not sheltered workshop skills, employable, paying job skills. However, as we turn the corner into the 21st century, something else was happening too. Just as we were making so much progress, a whole industry had grown up, and the race was on to find new, faster ways to test for Down syndrome before birth. Without timely and accurate information about all our progress, if the test shows an extra chromosome, pregnancies are being terminated. Except for those who say, I know a different Down syndrome. Or, wait a minute, let me learn more about this. Even though we have support groups all over the country, we still have experts advising families with old and outdated data. And they are wrong. They are very, very wrong. This is why our voices need to get stronger and louder, ladies and gentlemen. The voice of Down syndrome in the 21st century has to be loud enough and powerful enough to change the hearts and minds of people in all walks of life. Educators, doctors, teachers, legislators, community leaders, as well as new and expecting parents, about what people with Down syndrome and other intellectual disabilities can do. We need to rewrite the data the experts turn to. Pick any state in the U.S., any city in the U.S. Search for the Down syndrome support organizations there, and read about people just like me who battled their way through school, got regular diplomas, and are working hard to live and grow in their communities. We are not the exception, ladies and gentlemen. We are the potential. And it is our responsibility to become more visible, to become more vocal, and to advocate for our human and civil rights. Your focus here is on educating not only parents, but teachers, administrators, and the community at large. It's exactly what we need in the 21st century. The voice of Down syndrome in the 21st century has to be loud enough and powerful enough to end the discrimination that exists today in funding medical research that would improve our lives, not prevent them in the first place.